You hear me fine? You see me fine?
I gotcha.
All right, good, 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 good. Welcome to another episode of the Camo Talk podcast, man. And I have somebody that is near and dear to my Meal Talk heart, the real Katie Williams, man. Somebody that I'm a huge fan of. One of the people that was around when I first started doing Meal Talk, gave me great advice early in the game, and just always give great feedback. So for the people who might not know you, the very few,
Uh-huh.
explain who you are.
Oh my gosh, that's such an open-ended question because there's so much. Yeah, so I'm originally from Utah and then moved to Illinois, and then I joined the military there. And so far, I've been in for 18 and a half years. I'm a master sergeant currently. I went from Nevada to Nebraska, I've just been everywhere and I've done so much. And so now I'm in the Sergeant Major's Academy and I'm just waiting to be done with that pretty much. And then then I don't even know what I'm going to do next. So I've been in, yeah, 18 and a half years and I'll probably stay until 30 for sure.
So you've been pretty much fast tracking the entire way. I
You know,
mean,
people say that, but like I feel like I've actually gone at like a regular pace.
but what's a regular pace though? Is it like as soon as your time in grade hits, you get it?
Yeah,
That's
I
not
mean,
a regular pace.
I, uh, is it not?
No, that's a timeline a lot of people can't hit.
So I would say I did that up until I hit E7, and then I
Mm.
extended 1 year. I had to wait a year for my I think my E7 itself, like, and then my E8. Like I've been in E8 for going on 5 years now. So like technically, I mean, I'm eligible now for sergeant major. It's just more so finding a spot for me and having me go there. And so yeah, like I'm eligible time and service, time and grade, but like. You know, I would say my E5 and my E6 I got pretty fast. I got my E5 when I was 20, and
Oh,
then
okay.
and then I made staff sergeant E6 when I was 23. So it's like I don't feel like that's like outside of the normal realm, but I joined at 17. So you think at 17, at 23 years old, I already had 6 years in service. So
Oh yeah, yeah, good point. I was so you were the split out.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was. Yeah,
me
I
too.
joined on my 17th birthday actually.
You've been National Guard your entire time?
I've been National Guard the entire time. I was AGR in the National Guard for 9 years of it.
Mm.
So about half of my time I've been active, and the other half I've been on a MDA traditional drilling status.
Okay, okay. That's dope. How long have you been in Omaha? Because I lived in Omaha for a year. That's why I got my six in
Ugh.
Omaha, in Elkhorn. That's where I was.
Omaha's okay. Like, I mean, like, you gotta understand. Like, I moved up here for my husband. My husband's an amazing man. I love him to death. He's my best friend. Like,
Mm,
he's just so fun to hang out with, and he's just so fun to talk to.
mm.
So his custody is a little bit more rigid than my custody was. So I have a 9 year old, and he has a 12 year old.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'll move up to you, but if I hate it in 1 year, I'm coming back to Vegas. And he said, okay.
It's been longer than
um,
a year though, right?
it has been longer than a year. So I moved up here in 2024, early 2024, like, and I didn't really finish my move until the end of 2024.
Mm.
So it was kind of tough. Like I'm just moving things up here slowly but surely. Yeah, and then we got married in September of 2024, and then in December we found out he was deploying. So, and I was like, you did not just move me up here and then decide to leave. Like I'm so mad at you.
How
So.
how is it being the mom at home while your husband is deployed?
Oh my gosh. Like I've been deployed, right? And
Mm.
so like I tell people I'm like it's actually harder to be here. I'm not going to lie to you. Like being on both sides, and it's not because it's physically harder. Like it's not
Mm.
physically harder. Like the things that he's doing, I'm not doing, right? I'm not running fuel missions. I'm not doing any of that nonsense. Yeah, no, it's harder here because physically it's not harder, but mentally the load that you carry here is insane. So, and I would like to add that I just don't have family here, right? I feel
Mm.
like if I had a lot of family here and a lot of friends here, it wouldn't be as hard for me because I could just go and connect with them. Now, he has a great family. I'm connected with them, but they all have their own lives as well. And so
Mm.
it's just one of those things where you're just like, okay, I just have to figure it out. Routine is going to be key. But like, yeah, I have my 9 year old. I now have the newborn. I have two dogs. And we actually rescued a foster dog in March of this year. So the first 4 months of having her, I was training her, and she has severe separation anxiety. So she's like tearing up the house, she's tearing up furniture, and I'm like, oh
Mm.
my god, like I'm gonna kill this dog. But she's great now. So once as soon as the baby came, she like immediately snapped to it. So it was awesome.
Oh, you got a full house already. So I kind of want to go to your military career. You know, you being a woman soldier, I do want to kind of talk about downsides of that at times, right? And
Oh,
especially
yeah.
you being as looking as youthful as you look, right? People
Oh
always
my
say
gosh.
you didn't earn that, you didn't do this, blase
So
blase. So
funny.
let's talk about those trials and tribulations throughout your career.
You know what's funny about that is that I feel like I look like hot garbage right now because I just gave birth to a baby 3 weeks ago. Like, and like normally, I would say normally I do a lot of self-care, right? Like I'm in the spa all the time. I get massages monthly, I get facials monthly. I get, I go and do Dysport. Like I don't care. Like I'm so high maintenance now so that when I'm 60, I don't have to be high maintenance. And that was my goal. So, um yeah, it's interesting to see people who look at me and don't really understand that like I've been in for, almost 2 decades. Um like when I became a first sergeant, that was really interesting too because you got to think the platoon sergeants that I had do like have more time in service than I do. They were 22 years, 24 years, E7s.
Man.
Incredible individuals, so smart. And then I come in here, little bebopping first sergeant with like 15 years of service at the time and got my diamond and I'm just kind of hanging out and I'm like, hey, do, what's going on, guys?
Hmm.
Like,
They not trying to
uh,
hear that.
yeah, they did not. Like, they were so against me. And it was kind of interesting. So, that first 8 months of being a first sergeant, I will say was the hardest time because
Hmm.
being able to prove to them that not only do I have the qualifications to be their leader, but I am actually very good at it, right? And I don't toot my own horn very often, but like, the amount of knowledge that I have retained on purpose is so that I could actually spread it out to everybody else. And really, the turning point didn't come until we actually had gone to a training event and what I've always taught about legacy, like one day I'm not going to be here, so I don't want to
Hmm.
hold on to the information that I have. I want to
Absolutely.
constantly give it out, right? And I think a lot of senior leaders are worried about that because if they're not gatekeeping their information, then they may not be relevant anymore, or they may not be needed or necessary. And I refuse to live by that. So I put out as much information as I possibly can, not only in my own units, but even on the internet, things like that. So we were at a training event and they, I would bring these E7s into these battalion meetings and updates with me, battalions and brigades. And there was a moment where the battalion that we were attached to was asking us to do something very illegal. And I lost my mind. I was like, absolutely not. Like, there's no freaking way that's going to happen. And they're like, well, we'll just tell your commander to do it. And I'm like, you can try. like, but he's going to listen to me, right? And so because I had a really great commander at the time. Like he was younger than me, had about 10 years in service. Like was really kind of like not green, I
So you
would
was
say,
truly his ear.
but yeah, I was there for him like
Hmm.
everything, every single time. So basically, what I told him was like, hey, sir, like there's gonna be times where you don't like me, but you have to understand that you and I are in an arranged marriage for the next 2.5 years, and so like we got to get that shit figured out, right? So. And so he was like, yeah, okay. So I took these E7s into these battalion update meetings with me. They saw me basically throw down with this colonel, this full bird, and they were like, like we're gonna call your tag. And I said, do you want his phone number? Like, I don't have a
Hmm.
problem because you're asking me to do something illegal, and you guys don't have to deal with California when you leave. We do because we're in Nevada, right? Like
That is
this is a
very
big
true.
thing. You're gonna ruin a relationship that we have, and so. When they saw that, they heard me do that. They were like, "Oh my God! Like she actually cares. She actually like wants to do right by us." And it was like that was the moment that was a real turning point for me and those senior leaders. And so then after that, every single senior leader that had actually kind of come against me in that beginning period, they like came to me and actually apologized. They were like, "We didn't know that
Hmm.
how big of a badass you were. Like we just
Well,
love you
I,
so
I
much."
think I think some people are so stuck in their ways, and some people have such an upbringing where it's like a woman in this position, no way. So no matter how often they see you do the right thing, be the right thing, and just set that standard, they'll always look at you as if you didn't deserve it.
So I
That's
think
what I
that
don't understand.
Yeah, I think with partly now to their credit, I think part of it was that the previous commander that had was there when I came in. She was not a fan of mine at all. I don't know what it was. I tried with her so hard, and then and when she left, and then we got the new commander in. That's when things started to turn a little bit
Mm,
because they understood, and like it just was a different. It was a different vibe for sure. And I think also part of it was part of the experience that I've had is being so young in the military, young, right? Like I'm
yeah.
35, I'll be 36 in March, so I'm not young by any means, um but yeah, I think just being, young looking, And going into units, people assume that I'm just there until the next step hits and then I'm gone.
Mm.
Right. And so, and there's probably some truth to that because I've always said, like, go to different units, volunteer for different assignments because you
Yeah.
learn so much about leadership. You get so much different type of skill sets that are get brought onto you. But yeah, I think that was one of the biggest stigmas that I had to work around, was that. But then I also have to work around something that men will never have to work around. And I hate to say this, um, just being a pretty female and, kind of walking around. And really, I don't even feel like I have to be pretty about it. But,
Pretty
but
privilege is a very real
it's a
thing.
very real thing. But
It's a
here's,
gift and a curse, but it's more of a curse.
I would say it's a curse, because what happens is I'm actually viewed as very stupid. Right.
The
And so,
incompetence.
yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
they'll come up to me, certain men will come up to me. And I remember explaining this to my commander, and he didn't see it because he came from a cav unit. So, just nothing but men. And so then when he came in, to our line unit, he was like, "Oh my gosh, why are all these men hanging around my first sergeant all the time?" I said, "This is
Hmm.
why I told you can't leave me alone.
Hmm.
It doesn't have anything to do with me going and talking to them. It's them talking to me, right?"
Right.
And in those moments, they're like, "Oh, like, do you need help? Like, are we good for you? Like, do you want to know?" And like
Oh.
you having to like now, granted, I'm a very nice person, so I'm very bubbly. I'm very smiley. I don't get very mean very often. It's only when I'm being asked to do something completely ethically wrong or legally wrong. Um, and I'm like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Da 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 da. Like this,
But
like how you see me here is pretty much how I am in my unit.
it's such a perspective of how men see the women's
Hmm.
military experience than how you guys see our experience. I just got a new personal unit a year ago, and we've been talking a lot, and she's been opening my eyes to certain things because I'm so
Yeah,
naive to what y'all deal with and what things are. So when certain
yeah,
things happen, she'll be like, "Did you see that?" And I'm like, "What was that?" But then
yeah.
I'm like, "No, that
She's
could
gotta
not have
explain it
been
to
what
you.
it was." You know what I'm saying? That could not have been what it was.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then weeks later, it's like, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, my commander saw it one time where like he walked up to me and he's like, I swear, he's like, I've never seen this before. He's like, but there were like five dudes surrounding you and like senior leadership. And because like the senior leadership part, it doesn't like immune them to like, just doing that around females. It's crazy to me.
But they don't see
Um,
rank probably.
they
When they
don't,
see a pretty female, they just see
that's what they see.
potential. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what
somebody
they
that I can
see.
pursue. Yeah.
So yeah, and so like it was kind of interesting because they were around me, and then he walked up, and now granted, he like I'm 5'3", I'm 130 pounds at the time, right, and like he's probably 5'11", and he's got dark black skin, and like he's like buff, right?
Yeah.
So like he walks up to me, his little tiny first sergeant, right, like, and like all these people just completely dispersed, and he told
Mm.
me he's like, I swear it was like cockroaches getting a light switched on them, like they just scattered. And I was like, well,
That's how it
yeah, it's
is.
because like they know that you are going to protect me no matter what, and they know that I'm going to protect you, so they can't be shady if you're around. Like so,
But think about that. That was your experience as a first sergeant.
hmm
Imagine when you was a specialist, when you were somebody who probably didn't have that protection.
yeah,
So
I
there's
have
so many
so
women
many
out
different
there
stories.
who out there that can't peep the play and understand that like there'll be a situation where a first sergeant might go. I'm not. I'm just throwing out first sergeant.
Sure, go for it.
Might go to a specialist, be like, "Hey, I need your number just in case I need to reach out to you for
Yeah.
something." But it's like, no, you can reach out to my first line leader, anything like that. But certain soldiers won't see that as like,
They
what is
don't.
this? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of women soldiers don't speak up for themselves.
Hmm.
So that I think like, have you ever experienced anything like that throughout your career?
Yeah, yeah, actually many times. I could tell you stories that would just make your
Hmm.
your eyes just roll in the back of your head. So
Hmm.
when I was a sergeant, a brand new buck sergeant, I was about to leave my unit actually, and so this was back in the day. Gosh, when like the military had a bunch of money to like put soldiers up in hotels for drill weekends,
Oh
which is
man, come on,
which
the
is
good
like
old days.
like so bad.
Go
So
go out to
yeah.
the buffet on the weekend to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we had gone out, right? And previously the commander that I had in this unit was like very like he was very bold and very brazen. Now mind you, I'm 20, 21 years old, right? So I'm not like, like I don't know, like I hang out with my girls and I hang out with the other NCOs and like we have our own little crews and cliques and things like that that
Yeah,
you do.
yeah.
Right. And I was working at the time as a full-time admin NCO. So I was there, I was helping with the readiness and I was helping with training and like we were geared up to go to Iraq and it was just like all these things. So I was just on orders, right? And so the commander would always come in and say these really weird things. Well, I was coming up on a contract renewal, and one day I like walked into the office and I said, "Hey, sir," I said, "First sergeant wanted me to check with you and see if there was anything that you wanted me to do for like I'm re-signing up or I'm re-upping or anything like that." And he said it with the straightest face in front of his officers, like, "Yeah, in order to re-up with the unit, like you actually have to sleep with the commander." And then there was like this weird pause because like I'm like, uh, and there's this weird pause, and then he laughs and he's like, "Just kidding." But like it's like
But
it was a weird
that's the
moment.
bullshit though.
No, I
I
know.
hate.
So it was really weird, right? So like fast forward a couple months, I'm actually leaving the unit at that time, and we had all gone out. Well, he actually ended up like flashing a bunch of the females there, and no one said anything. Well, then he tried to kiss one of the other females, and she just decked him right in the face.
Well
You know,
deserved.
yeah, well deserved, right? So he eventually ended up leaving the military in general. Like they moved him to another unit, to another state, and all these things. So fast forward to when I was at E7, right? I was pinned up against a car by another E7 male that had constantly hit on me, like, and I was just like, I had to constantly say like, "Hey, like I'm not interested, like go away,
Mm,
like I'm not interested," right? I actually went home and told my then husband, because this was, I don't know, 2018 maybe. This was years ago. And I told my then husband about it, and he's like, "Are you going to file a report?" I was like, I have to work with these people, and I don't know how the state's going to treat me, and this, like, all these different things. And he's like, "Well, what would you?" He's like, "Do you remember when you were a sergeant?" Because I've told him this story, and I was like, "No, you're right. Like, I need to, because like I'll say something, but like an E5, an E3, an E1 may not, right?
yeah,
And this is a problem." And so the moment I did that, then I became problematic, right? So it's
yeah.
like, that's what people don't understand. Like, we're actually combating, females in the military are combating this constantly, the stigma of false allegations, the stigma of maybe being too bitchy, maybe
Mm,
being not nice enough, right? And like, or like not competent enough, right? So it's like, if you're demanding and commanding the same things that I say, but then a male says that I'm the emotional one, or I'm the
right,
demanding
right.
one. I've had units, and I've gosh, I've raised soldiers. I've just raised them like from babies. It feels
Mm,
like that would always sit there and be like, "Why do they treat you like that? Like they don't understand how good you are to us." And I was like, "It's just because they don't understand." And like a lot of people are set in their own ways, and that's fine. So like I got mentored by people who were enlisted in the 80s and 90s, like early 80s, early 90s. Those were my mentors, but they were so good to me that they just taught me so many things. And so they taught me how to stand on my own against people like
mm,
them, right?
right.
Um, and then as I've gotten older, I've just realized like, hey, like I don't have to be mean and bitchy to like get my point across. I can just sit here and smile, and I can tell you what to do. And when it doesn't work, when your plan doesn't work, and you come back to me and be like, "Hey, Top, like how do we fix
Yeah.
this?" Kind of thing. Like, because I've realized that after, with time, everything is seen no matter what. So
It's such a rock and a hard place though when you are going through these things and you don't really have a outlet to be able to say these things are happening to me, because like you said,
yeah,
you're National Guard, so I can only assume how that word spreads. So you might want to go to this unit, they heard about you, we don't want her, we got to go to this unit, we don't want her.
yeah,
It's like that just seemed like such a horrible position to be in. And even like when you're talking about false allegations, I made a post about it the other day. Even though it is a very small thing, it is a real thing, right?
yeah. I would say it's a small percentage of people that actually make false allegations, but I would say that it is still very serious. Which is why, like, when they start talking about people like filing false allegations and saying like we need to punish those people, I'm like, yeah, I would agree,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, I
Because
agree.
what happens when you file an allegation in general is that that soldier that's being accused is now flagged for an adverse action until
Yeah,
investigations are done. So if something is not actually happening, you just basically railroad this soldier's career over for whatever reason, right? And being in for so long, you see, I don't know, you see all the things that happen, and you're just like, ah, that poor soldier. Like you
yeah,
just, which is why, like, if you look at my page, I'm so heavily on soldiers like advocating for themselves,
yes.
because I've always said, I said, no one cares more about your career than you. No one
Hmm.
should care about your career more than you. And if you can't advocate for yourself, then you're basically at the whim of whoever's opinion of you that they have. So, it's a very interesting thing. And then when people get mad at me for telling soldiers to like skirt the lines through the regulations, I'm like, that's not a bad thing. Like
Yeah, exactly,
they should
exactly.
know
People
it.
are they love to say if it's in a black and white, you got to go by the black and white. I'm like, no, it's not black and white. It's all gray area. Gray
Hmm.
area. You got to use it in a way that it benefits you and it benefits the army.
Yeah,
That's how I feel, right?
yeah, and I would say that I slightly agree and I slightly disagree, right? Because there are black and white regulations that are just straightforward. And so
Yeah.
I've said this in a video too, like you can't interpret it what it says by what you feel. You have to interpret it by what the intention of
Mm,
the original policy was written by, right?
that
And
might be
so
something I struggle with.
yeah. That's okay, right? So,
Yeah.
and so I think that's why it's so interesting for me to like, advise people on regulations. And like I've said this in my videos too, like my husband will call me like just because he likes hearing my opinion, right? And I think
Mm.
he just like sucks up to me a little bit. But like,
You the
you
big
know.
dog.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because he's like, I gotta get Sergeant Major's opinion, blah blah blah. And I'm just like you can look this up. Like you don't need
Mm.
me. He's like, yes, I do.
Sometimes it's the path of least resistance. Let me go to somebody that I know the answer.
Yeah.
And you bring up your videos, man, and like I said, like you were somebody that I hold near and dear to my heart in the
Thank you.
Meal Talk community. Like, how did you even get into this realm? Like, what was the like? Were you doing social media before this? Because I know your background is in marketing and what else?
Hmm.
So
It
it's
was.
like
It's yeah.
this is second nature for you almost. It's like
Yeah.
it comes so easy. I look
Yeah.
at your videos and I'm just like, man, if I can just get to that level. So I just
Which
want to
is
kind of
funny
know
because
what
you do well. I mean, I think your videos are great.
I don't know what it is about my videos, or maybe I'm just being too hard on myself, but
Probably.
I feel like when people watch my videos, they're watching TikTok. When people watch your videos, they're watching the news. It's almost like
Oh,
box type.
interesting.
It's like
Well,
I
I
could
will.
see this on TV.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that compliment. Thank you. I really like that.
Yeah.
But no, like I think you've done a couple videos where it's just like, that was probably not your best work.
Mm,
But I would say that's like a really small percentage. I'd say the majority of your videos are pretty great.
mm.
Like you do a lot of car videos, right? So
Yeah, I'm trying to get to a point where I have a straight setup, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we
yeah.
moving this month, so I'm gonna have a whole studio set up
But
and
that's the
work
thing,
from
like
there.
I think
But
it just takes time and things like this, like they just morph, right? So
yeah.
you start out one way and then you just kind of morph into something that works for you. And then you have to be flexible enough to pivot. So to answer your question, like, yes, my background is in marketing, but it's also in politics, right?
Mm.
so 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 prior to I guess me blowing up on Mill Talk or whatever,
Mhm.
um, you know, TikTok's only been around since 2019, 2020, right?
Yeah.
Before that, it was Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and then YouTube. YouTube Shorts didn't come out until after TikTok came out.
Mm.
And so at the time, I was in pageants and I was doing social media, but I was also posting about my military career all the time. So
Mm.
from the day that I got a Facebook page in 2009, like I posted about my military career, right? I was deployed, I did this, I did that. Look at this parade I was at. Like, look at this, like this,
Mm.
I'm in recruiting. Like, if you guys want to be recruiters. But at the time back then, social media wasn't the advertising partner that it is now, right? So social media was just kind of like, I'm going to stay connected. I'm going to put some drama out here. I'm
Yeah.
going to do, going to do these things and these posts will go viral and they won't, right? And going viral, I would say earlier on in the Facebook days was like a bad thing. So if you went
Man,
viral,
oh, it was the worst. And I
yeah, if
remember
you went
going
viral then, it was
viral.
because you were a butthead.
If you had 2K views, that was viral back then.
Yeah, no, it
Now it's
really
like
was.
if you got a million, it's like damn a million. See,
Yeah,
I'm a true social media baby from AOL Messenger to Bebo to back when you had to be invited to Facebook. I have
yeah.
completely been on every app, and I feel like, and not to toot my own horn, I have
Hmm.
impacted in some type of way. Even the way that I am now, what I'm doing
Yeah,
on TikTok right now is no different than what I did on Twitter, what I did on Facebook, and stuff like
yeah.
that. But then now I think about that digital footprint. Like, damn, I know I done said some stuff, did some stuff.
Well, so and here's what's crazy about it too. And like I've always like even when I was in politics and I ran for office in Las Vegas. And so when I was running for
Wait,
politics,
wait, wait,
because
you
I
ran for office?
I did, yeah, and I
What
won, and I
office?
sat in an office. So I sat in the Clark County School Board trustee position. So people are like, "Oh, it's a school board." I'm like, "Yep, you're right. It's just a school board." But like, I had 400,000 voters in my area,
Yeah.
so
Oh
it's like,
man.
so you're like, you're out there door knocking, you're doing all these different things. So I did that in 2020. So in order
Mm,
to run in the National Guard, I had to like really void my pages of all my military
yeah.
content, and so that's what I did. I actually like went and archived it. I deleted it. I hid it and I made it private. Whatever I did. But nobody really knew that I was in the military unless I talked about it, because there's certain regulations that guide what you have to say and what you
Mm,
can say about your military service while you're still serving and also running for politics. So I did that in 2020 and won my seat by like 65%.
mm,
Like, did great, like awesome. And then I was done in 2024. So once I was done and I had like moved up here, I was like, well, I'm going to start posting again. Like, I'm going to start just doing this stuff again,
mm,
because I'm already like at the end of my thing. I'm not running for reelection. I'm moving. I'm doing all these different things. And so I posted something. I was on annual training in 2024. Yeah, in
mm.
2024. And it was just me like riding in the back of a van, right? And everybody saw that I was like baby face
Yeah,
first sergeant,
youthful.
and they were like, no freaking way.
She didn't deserve that. Blase,
Yeah, yeah. And
blase.
so I was like, oh, okay. So because I'm in marketing, I know that when something hits, you hit it again, again and again and
Mm,
again and again until it stops hitting. And then you stop back, you back off, and then you hit it again just to see, right? Like,
yeah,
so marketing is a lot of testing and throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what happens.
yeah.
And so that's why people say, like, oh, they're just doing it for rage bait, they're doing it for click views, all these things, right? So, and some of that is true. Some of it I just test a theory.
Mm.
Just like with my Dependa content, I put a couple Dependa pieces out there and hit a million views on one of them. So it's like, it's like
I know I can always go viral if I bring up race. It's gonna hit every time.
you
Oh
can,
man.
right? And see,
People
but
love the
here's the
drama.
thing. Yeah, they love the drama, but they love a conversation starter. And I would say that, like, as long as you're like, it's okay to put satire on there, and it's okay to like kind of post like jokes and things that are like a little bit maybe too far fetched or a little bit
Mm,
offensive or things like that. But you have to be really careful about not making that your entire personality, because
yeah,
then, like you said, people are not coming to your page to be informed. They're coming to be entertained, right?
exactly.
Or and like you want to be able to move and mesh that a lot. So in my earlier TikTok videos, I talked a lot about marketing, right? Well, those weren't hitting. So I was like, oh, okay. So like my page just is not geared towards marketers or people that want to know about marketing. And that's fine. So I shifted and I stopped talking about it, right? And then once military started hitting, I started hitting more military content, more military content, more. And so that's why it continues to work, right? And it also
Yeah,
happens to be something that I love and I'm passionate about. So it's
yeah.
not too bad.
That's my thing too. Like that's how Camo Talk started. It came from a pivot. My page was originally like the run of the mill relationship talk. Like I know this can work, but then I posted a video in uniform talking about military talk, and it just went. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this is what it is. Because everything I ever done, I was just trying to do what I thought would hit. Like when I was on
Yeah.
Facebook and I was doing this, I was doing music and I was doing all of this type of stuff. But I'm like, I'm not doing this every day. In the
Yeah.
military, I'm doing this every day, so I can talk about this all the time.
Every day.
And once
Yeah.
it hit, and it's always something new, right? Like as you
Yeah.
said, yes, like now we in the Department of War era.
Oh my gosh. So,
Which I think, like, I
uh,
mean, we have our left and right limits of what we can talk about,
sure.
right? So, what is your opinion on that?
You know what's funny is that like people, when I made that video, and I always make videos, I kind of like warning soldiers, right? And I say warning them because I've had a GOMAR for social media. I
Mm,
got one back in
mm,
2024. So and I had to appeal it, and it like got it removed and all that stuff. But like it was still such a process. And so like I'm fine with it. I have the means to pay for attorneys, but the young
mm.
soldiers don't.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so that being said, looking at the Department of War, when I made that video, there's a couple videos in there or a couple comments in there that said, hey, this is their original name. And I said, yes, 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 I understand, right?
Mm,
I totally get that. But I think there's also a level to it where it's like, do we really want to be known as the Department of War? Like, yes, it's fun and it's kind of quirky to like,
it's
yeah, well, like
childish,
it's
you
like
know?
like it's kind of like the FAFO, right? Fuck around and find out.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
like
exactly,
Department of
exactly.
FAFO. That's kind of
Yeah.
what we should have done. But like I think part of that is like I don't know if childish would be the word. I would just be like little time wasted, right?
Yeah.
Because at the same time, and I said this to my husband last night when we were talking, I said, I would be totally fine with them changing the name like this if at the same time the barracks in Fort Bragg would no longer had black mold in them,
Yeah. Oh
right?
man,
And
the bears everywhere.
like, I think it's just that was the last report I read, but
Mm,
I was like, if we're helping soldiers at the same time, um, we're giving them their raises, we're pushing promotions, we're pushing schools, we're pushing the PMEs, we're getting through all that stuff. And at the same time, you want to change a couple base names and change the department, that's fine. I don't
mm,
care. Right. Like, but when it's only solely focused on the marketing and theatrical aspect, which I do understand. I know it's going to get hits. I know it's going to get views from both
mm,
the left, the right, the center, the good, the bad, the positive, the negative, right? It's going to get views from everyone and comments from everyone, which increases engagement, which increases followership. But at the same time, it's like when I'm being discerning and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, ugh, man, I want so much better for soldiers sometimes.
yeah.
I want to see them thrive. I want to see toxic leadership in the military retire and get out. Like I
Mm,
want and people are like, oh, they shouldn't get to retire. I understand, but like I can only
mm.
fight one battle at a time. So
Yeah,
it's like
exactly, exactly. And I think I think
I just want them to I want soldiers to thrive. I really do.
mm, I think it's such a wide gap between like taking care of soldiers and worrying about numbers. Now with this
Yeah.
new administration, I feel like we are in a theatrical stage, right? We do want to have the presentation of the military to look a certain way. I get that. I truly do understand that. But it's like at what cost? Because all of
Yeah.
these has dollars attached to them. All of these have
Yeah.
soldiers' lives attached to them. So that's my only
Yeah.
concern.
Here's what I would say, and I would kind of encourage you to look at Ronald Reagan's campaigns and like his actual presidency. So his 8 years of presidency, um, President Trump is very similar, right? His entire campaign was ran like Ronald Reagan before he became president, and during the camp or sorry, not during the campaign, but during his actual term in office, like a lot of the things that President Trump is doing, Reagan did on some level of scale, right? So like you have to really look at them. So even that concept of peace through strength is a Reagan quote, right? And that was
Yeah.
exactly what happened when Secretary Hegseth like put that out there, peace through strength. That's a Reagan quote.
Hmm.
It's not anybody else, right? Make America great again. That is a Reagan quote. That's a Reagan campaign slogan, right?
Hmm.
So like I think that's what's interesting for me in politics, knowing
History repeating itself, I think.
well, like, and I think it's just like I think what happened was that President Trump saw something that worked, and he was like, "That'll work again," because he's a
Yeah.
smart man, right? He knows what works for the general public. Because for the most part, people don't really change. Like generations don't change. Like they become more advanced, but human
Yeah, yeah,
nature is
yeah.
human nature, right?
True.
And so I think what's helpful for me being in politics and being in the military, like I see that half the things that they're doing, I would say 70%, 80%, most of it is theatrical. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's just this administration. The Biden administration did it as well. The Obama administration did it. The Clinton administration did it. Like everything in politics, you just have to understand that 80% of it is what they want you to see. And now, right now, it's just ramped up because now social media is what social media is. And
Right, right.
Lord help us in 5 to 10 years when social media advances like crazy and completely reverses. It's going to be
And
nuts.
if I'm not wrong, Ronald Reagan was an actor prior to his presidency, right?
Correct. Yep.
So when Donald Trump became president, everybody was so shocked. I'm like, this is already in a playbook. This is nothing new.
Correct.
So it already that showed me that it's truly only influence. Like
Yes.
if you can make people believe that you can do these things, you will have their vote.
Yep.
And at this point, he is showing, I feel how I feel, but in my lifetime, he has been the one president to do what he said he was going to do, good, bad, or
Yeah.
indifferent. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at people like Vivek Ramsey, who ran a campaign in 2024
mm,
and did a great job. Like everyone was like, this he's young, he's vibrant, he's energetic, he's really charismatic, and we really like him.
mm,
Well, he doesn't have the financial backing that President Trump has, right? Let's just be
yes,
honest about it. And so that's what happened. President Trump came in and said, "Hey, I really like you. You're great," and he put him in his cabinet. So,
yeah,
you know, but
he
like,
made it
I
work.
mean,
He did it work,
that
but
was the
he
smartest thing Trump could have done, was like take his opponent that probably gave him the most challenging for the younger crowd, and like, nope, we're just gonna put you in my cabinet.
power moves. To be able to have these type of power move with no strings attached to you is just kind of like, I don't know. I just think the perception of government and administration is about to be totally warped within the next few years. But this is just me at the level that I'm at, right? But
Yeah.
you see it so layered with your marketing background, with your political background. It's almost like you are seeing the matrix. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
It is an interesting thing. So I remember gosh. In 2019, I went to Mar-a-Lago and Club Breakers and things like that down there in
Mm,
West Palm Beach, right? And so getting to experience a lot of things like that, there are so many things that you see inside every single political party, both left, right, and center, that
mm,
you'll never see unless you're like involved in those groups, right?
mm.
And I think that that's why I kind of get frustrated with like the left 10% and the right 10%, right? So, what happens a lot is when I post about something, oh my gosh, somebody just rang my doorbell. I'm sorry.
Amazon. You can
Oh my
take care of it.
gosh.
No rush. Yeah,
Okay, give me 1 second.
no pressure, no rush. Look at that man. Look at that man.
Yeah, that's my husband here. I'll unblur my background, but like or maybe I don't know how to do it. I don't know. Anyways, um, this is my husband. This is what he does. So he's like in Iraq, and he's like sending me flowers. So
If he wanted to, he would.
that's right. I tell him that all the time.
That
Like
is crazy. That's dope.
he's
That's
a
very
good,
dope. Very dope to see.
he's a good
Yeah.
man for sure.
Mm.
But so like and we have our 1 year anniversary coming up too. So
Oh
he's just
man,
like,
he's setting the standards early.
oh my gosh, you should like our first date was insane, but like he was so fun. But yeah, so like now I even forgot what I was saying. I'm so sorry.
You was talking about the left 10% and the right 10%
Oh
and
yeah,
how it
so
kind of
like
annoys you.
yeah, so like it annoys me because like when I post something, some piece of content, and it's me, this young face, big rank, whatever, like the right 10% is like, you're such a liberal, like automatically. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what? Like that's so crazy. Or I'll post something about following regulations and policies, and I'll get somebody on the opposite spectrum that says, oh, whatever, are you bootlicker? I bet you just wish this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so like, which is why I say sometimes like people should have a license to post on the internet,
Oh, 100%.
right?
I agree.
Like you should have to go through like I would just say not necessarily an IQ test, but maybe like I don't know, like an intelligence quiz, like a modern day like discerning type of quiz, right?
Yeah.
Just like, are you of sound mind?
And ASVAB for social media.
Yes, yes. And it's so tough because yeah, because like they just don't see it, right? They see the talking points of both sides, they see what they want to see. They could draw
Yeah.
conclusions, which is where conspiracy theories can come from, which is where psychosis can come from. And they just get so off on those tangents. Well, here's the thing: people like me, people like you, people like President Trump, Fox News, CNN, whatever, they know that there is a level of the population that will only understand this much information,
Yeah.
and
We
and
goldfish.
and they will be the loudest,
Mm.
right? So they talk to them and everything else goes out there because people like me who actually want to know stuff will go and read it. And they're
Yeah.
not talking to me because I'm not going to fall for that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's
I,
like,
I preach so much about how we lost the art of research and doing the
mhm,
work to learn these things. People are so addicted to sound bites and headlines that it's like
yeah,
you don't even read the words. People
yeah.
people like it's so scary to me now how people can't see AI and know that this is AI. That person has 12 fingers. It's
Oh my
like
gosh. But AI is getting so good. I had a prompt call
oh it is, it
yesterday.
is.
I was telling my husband, I was like, I had a prompt call yesterday, call me from one of my business accounts. And I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a person. And then about 2 minutes in, I was like, no, this is a computer.
It is
Like it was
scary,
so
man.
scary good.
I just think we're going more towards an automated lifestyle, automated military.
hmm
But man, like I just kind of think like I don't know. I just have a mindset where I'm so focused on a young soldier. My perspective is
Yeah.
so low level that I think about like, what about that special? What is that special going to do? But I do have to think big picture and understand like, are we headed in a good direction? Do you feel like we are headed in a way
Mm.
that is sustainable?
For the military, I would
Yeah.
say, hmm, I would say maybe, right?
Mm.
So, no nation is immune to ego, right?
Oh, 100%.
So, like it just look at the Roman Empire, right?
Yeah.
I would say maybe, but here's the thing: I would say depending on how quickly we accept AI, we accept social media, we accept the new technologies of the world. Because if you read, then I don't know if you've ever read the National Defense Strategy, but if you haven't, I would encourage you to do
Yeah.
so. Um, but in there, it'll talk about our biggest weak points are cybersecurity and space, right? We have control of the airspace, we have control of the waters, and we have control of the land. But we do not have control of the internet, and we do not have
Mm.
control of the space area, geopolitical area, right? And so when you look at wars that are being fought in the future, you have to really understand like, and I said this in one of my videos that I was like, our future wars are not fought on the ground. They will not be,
Absolutely not. Yeah.
right? Like they will be fought in the air. They will be fought over the internet. They will be fought in space, right?
Mm.
And like I had a bunch of comments on there. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, then why do you think we're just up gearing our infantry and blah blah blah?" Like yeah, because like you're gonna, because again, it's a female saying it. If you
Yeah.
said it, if you went
Yeah.
and said it, you would have a great conversation in your comment section.
And I
If
and I
I
truly
say it,
feel and I truly feel like the military is headed towards that way. My favorite movie of all time is Terminator 2. So I
ah,
always have this huge fear of Skynet. There will become a time where we are fighting the machines and the internet and the
well,
security.
I don't think I don't think so, right? And
You don't think
here's
so?
why. No, I
Not
don't
not
because
actual robots, but the defense of our internet. Everyone has a Wi-Fi network, a computer in their home. If people
sure.
can learn to target that, oh man,
Oh yeah,
what's
like
next?
correct. But I think that that's why it was so smart of the government to like immediately directly commission all of those kernels from the AI tech companies. And people
Hmm.
lost their minds about. They're like, this is not normal. I'm like, it actually is normal. We've done it many times. We've done this many times throughout our
Yeah,
history.
they do it with
Like what?
doctors and nurses.
Like yeah, exactly. I'm like, but what a great concept because like we need these people in our research and development field so that we can combat against the things. Because the way that I look at companies and when I work for a company, I look at something like if I were to destroy this brand, if I were to destroy this company, what would I do? And I
Mm,
work backwards from that. Right. And so it'd be the same thing as like when I'm trying to protect my home, how would I get in and how would I hurt somebody? Right.
mm,
So I work backwards from that. It's no different than what the military actually taught us, right?
yeah, backwards plan.
For yeah, backwards planning and like
Mm-hmm.
going forward from there, right? And then
Mm,
reassessing and retesting and removing it, like, barriers and things like that. So I think we are going in a good direction. It's just a matter of like, are the old heads of the military willing to accept that this is just the direction that it's headed, right? And then you see it in the job market too, where people are like, "Oh my gosh, AI is taking our jobs." I'm like, "Yeah," and so did the wheel,
yeah.
right?
Oh
The
yeah.
wheel
Yeah.
took people's jobs.
Mm-hmm.
The radio took people's jobs. The internet took people's jobs. Like these things
Mm,
continue to happen throughout history, and it just is what it is. Right now, if you were to hire someone to build a website, it cost you anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. 25 years ago, that
million. That's
job
a
didn't
$1 million
exist.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, that job didn't exist, right? Because
Yeah.
it wasn't a thing. So people just don't understand. Like, yes, history kind of repeats itself, but really, people are very predictable, and the world is cyclical. This is gonna happen consistently over and over
Mm,
again. The printing press, like if you look at anything in history, the verbiage around new technology has never changed. It's
mm.
they're terrible. They're gonna take our jobs. They're gonna do this. Blah blah blah.
The paranoia has always been there.
It's always
Yeah.
been there and it's always marketed because the left 10% and the right 10% will listen to it and they're the loudest.
Yeah. It's so crazy how the 10% has such power. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Outside of that other 90. Because I think about like, and I'm kind of back on the topic of technology and how things advances. When I was a kid, phone books used to be this thick. Now a phone book is like a pamphlet. It's like a
Hmm.
flyer now. So it's almost like how can we be ahead of the curve as soldiers and as a military force? What do you think are some of the things that we can do to be on the right side of this change? And this is your
Um,
marketing brain, your
yeah,
political brain.
it's all gonna go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can really separate them sometimes, but I think if we accept it early on, like I don't think we ask enough why questions or
Mm,
like how, right? And I have always said I hate the word no. I hate the word no.
yeah.
It's how can we, right?
Hmm.
there is
It's a
there is
way.
no there's no no in my
Mm.
world. Right? It's like, no, Master Williams, you cannot do that. No,
Mm.
honey, you can't do that. Bull. Like how, like, because this is what I want, so what do I have to do to get this accomplished, right? And so I think that if we are early on in accepting of certain things and we don't immediately like, oh, those are for kids or that's for teenagers or that's for this, blah 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 blah, and we really take a good I don't know, set of time and just actually investigate whatever it is. Try it out, try everything once, and then, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? I
Mm.
do believe that we can do everything. We just can't do it all at once, right?
Yeah,
So,
true, true.
um, if there were a young soldier kind of looking at like how can they do that, like immediately switch your MOS to something that involves technology, right? Like if you do that, or transportation, because I will say transportation is never going to go away. They're always going to need
Yeah.
a level of transportation. But I do see a lot of MOSs being phased out because they just will not be needed, right?
Yeah,
And
and me
so
as a 42, I feel like that day will come as well.
maybe not for 42s. I think 42s are pretty safe.
Man, the thing that
But
computers and
mhm.
algorithms and AI can do is like all you have to do is input information.
Yeah, well, and here's what I would say is like when I started getting promoted, when I was looking to get promoted, what I would do is I would look at the rank above me. So if I was a sergeant, I was like, how do I get to six? Cool. How am I going to promote for seven? So I would do
Mm,
all of the requirements for seven to get my six. So I was always at the top of the list.
right.
And so people were always like, oh, you don't deserve that. I'm like, bull. I did all of this stuff outside of that.
Mm,
So then when I went to go get my seven, I did all of the things for eight. Now that I'm going to get my nine, right? Like there's only so much you can do, right? Like,
yeah, true,
but I
true.
already had all of my things for nine done outside of Sergeant Major's Academy, and then I couldn't go until I was eligible for it. So
Mm.
once I was there, and that's why it's like once a spot opens up, it's mine, right?
Oh,
So
definitely in the pipeline.
like, and that's just the thing that you have to understand is that if you're a young soldier and you're looking to make this a career, try to forward think, right? To your point, Terminator 2, Skynet, like think of all the crazy, most imaginative things you could do and like work towards those, right? How
Mm,
would you like code? How can you program computers? Like all these things can be done by AI, but there's always going to be needing some level of human intervention and interaction with it. And so I think just if you're open minded to it, you don't listen to the noise. The majority is always going to say like this is bad. And I
mm.
think where billionaires, millionaires thrive is they say, yeah, maybe for you, but it's
Yeah.
not bad for us, right? You know?
And you talk about the elders and the old heads of the military, and I'm thinking like, are we at that point now? Are we
Um,
those? I feel like the era that we came in, we were able to see both sides, the change and the old ways. And I feel like we found a great balance because I don't think new soldiers hate us, and I think the older soldiers respect us. So I feel like I can't speak for every generation, but I feel like
yeah.
our generation, the way that we came in, we have found that balance. And I feel like if we can kind of keep this going,
Hmm.
it'll be sweet. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, I agree with you. I always laugh and say that I'm geriatric in army years,
Oh yeah, we
right?
all.
Like, I was
But
like,
it's
my real
crazy.
age is actually quite young. Like I'm a baby in comparison to most
Yeah.
people. But then like you go look at like, oh my gosh, 20 years in the military, like you're old.
You were you almost at the finish line.
Yeah, I actually had a soldier. She asked me how long I was in the military, and I said, "Oh yeah, like 18 years," and her eyes just dropped. I was like, "Rude," like, girl, you better calm down. I was like, I enlisted in 2007, and she's like, "Oh my gosh," like it was so
But you
visceral,
you
she couldn't stop it.
you reaching that point where you've accomplished like I assume everybody's goal when they join the military, if they truly care about it, is to make that top rank on the enlisted
Yeah,
side, warrant side, officer side. You're there.
yeah,
Like you went
yeah.
through every rank. How does that feel?
It feels good. I mean, there were times that there's at least twice in my career that I thought seriously about leaving the
Mm,
military, that I considered very, very heavily about leaving it. Coming to realize now, looking back on it, there's those moments where you're just like, oh, okay, that was an outside, those were like outside indicators that were like
yeah.
really just kind of messing with your life. And it wasn't really the military, but the military is always going to be what you make of it, right? What you put in, you're going to get out. So the times that I was having the worst time, I wasn't putting very much effort into it.
Mm,
And looking back, I can take that accountability and be like, yeah, I could have done that way better. There are things that I wanted to still do with my career, but there were many forks in the road where I had to like make a choice. Like, I'm like, if I'm going to go this direction, I'm never going to be able to go this direction ever again,
mm,
and that's okay, right? So, there were these moments that I had to just do that. It was like, do you go to an academic school or do you go to like one of those cool badass schools, right? And I
yeah.
chose all the academic schools because I knew that I wanted to rank up very quickly,
Mm,
and ranked up as quickly as I could because I knew where I wanted to retire at and I knew where I wanted to be done with. Um, and it's kind of tough because then you see people going through and doing the things that you wanted to do, and you're like,
oh, the cool stuff.
like
Yeah, like oh.
like I just like I want to, like, there's still moments like that where I couldn't, but like I made my choices and I'm okay with those because again, I still love the military. I knew from the time that I was 10 years old that I was going to join the military. I just knew it, right? And I did. So I started talking to recruiters at 16. I joined on my 17th birthday, and it's been 100 miles an hour ever since. And so that's why I tell people, like, the guard is the best kept secret in the military you can ever get, because I can go on active duty, I can go off active duty, I can
Mm,
deploy, I can travel, I can go to a different unit if I need to. I will say the higher in rank you go, the harder it becomes to do
mm,
all of that. But yeah, like it's such a bittersweet concept to think that I've been in for so long. And have done so much. And even in my off time now, I'm on maternity leave now, right?
mm.
And they'll send me assignments to like, hey, like work on this in your own time, as long as you want, right? Whatever. Because these are things that I'm doing now for the military, as far as
Right.
their marketing and their PAO and things like that. So
But so much of your life has been military. I want to join the military from 10 until now.
yeah.
What does the other side look like for you when
Oh,
you
like when I
do get
retire.
on? Yeah.
I always make a joke that I'm gonna go start working at Starbucks because I'm addicted to caffeine.
As we see.
I know, it's like, well, because I had to go 9 months without it. Dang
Yeah,
it.
true, 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 very true.
So no, what I actually am doing. So I had to actually defer my enrollment to law school. So I did
Mm,
get accepted to law school, and I had to defer my enrollment because I got accepted to Sergeant Major's Academy. Well, I
uh,
can't. So it was kind of like
priority.
yeah, like it's priority at Sergeant Major's Academy to finish
Mm,
that. So then when I got pregnant and I was like, okay, so now I'm like timing out my months properly. I'm like, when can I
mm,
actually start law school now at this
mm,
point? So it'll probably be fall of 26, if not spring of 27,
mm.
that I'll start that. And then the goal would be to finish law school by the time that I retire. And talking about our national defense strategy and looking forward thinking, what I did was I looked at like, what are we going to need in the future? And there's a term, I love this term, by the way. It's called a space lawyer.
A
So
space player?
a space lawyer.
Oh, space lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Skynet, Star Trek,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So that's the program I'm in now. So I'm actually
Mm.
doing my master's in space studies currently while I'm doing Sergeant Major's Academy. And then like, yeah, so then when I go to law school, that'll be pretty much where I go.
I picture you so much being in front of a camera, just saying news, giving out information. Like I don't know. I know that's probably so far removed from what you want to
No,
do,
I
but it's
love
just
it. I would
yeah, that's
totally
just
do
how I
that.
see you. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
I would never not see you like once meal talk is over with and whatever the case may be, I just still see you being that person that passes on information because you give it in such a way that it's so digestible. It's like
oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I tell you all the time, like the way that you speak and the way that you enunciate and articulate yourself is like that is my goal. That is what I
Yeah.
strive to. But I'm so country though. So it's gonna be a struggle anyway for me. But
Yeah.
I think you're gonna do great things regardless. You're already doing great things, man. And I just like
Yeah.
I preach all the time on TikTok, man. I just love when women make Sergeant Major.
I
That's
know.
like one of my
It's
favorite
amazing.
things to see. Yeah, because it's like I just can only imagine what you guys have gone through to get to that point and the power that you have to change things.
Yeah. There's
So it's
so many
like,
great female sergeant majors on TikTok. Like if I'm scrolling and my For You page is like constantly putting me on female sergeant major TikTok or senior leader in general, like E8 and above, I'm like follow, follow, follow.
yeah, yeah.
I
Like
follow
I
all of
love I
them.
love Sergeant Major Spencer. I love
Yeah,
Sergeant Major Ward. And we actually I used to work under her years ago when I was in
that's
Texas.
awesome.
Yeah, so and people look at her and think that she's like this person who isn't serious at times and stuff like that. She checks shit a lot. Like she's
Yeah,
got on me a lot of times when I was just bullshitting and
good
it's
for
like,
her.
oh man. Yeah, so
You know, it's
but
funny though,
that's
because
what
like
you need though.
yeah, like I actually had a female sergeant major that is I told her when I get my sergeant major, you will pin me. She's gonna pin
Mm,
me. I met her when I was a staff sergeant, and I actually thought that she hated me because I'm 23, I'm taking everything as offensive and all that stuff, and
yeah.
she checked me on something, and I was like,
Oh, she's jealous of
whatever.
me. This is
Yeah,
why. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, legit. Like that's exactly what I thought too. And it wasn't until later on I actually got like assigned to her, and like she really, really took me under her wing. And then at the same time, she was actually standing up an SVAB in Illinois, and so she asked me because at the time I was a trainer. She asked me to train her for her ruck march and to make sure that we could like pass it. So I
Mm,
did, and it was awesome. And so when I got my E7, they gave me the NCO Creed printed out, or the Creed of Non-Commissioned Officers. I swear, if you put that out, people are like, "Oh my gosh, like you said it wrong."
yeah.
Uh, but they printed it out for me, and both of my mentors, her being one of them, signed it for me, and I was just
Oh,
like
that's so dope.
that was so much more important than me getting pinned. Like it just, I have that, and I love it so much, and I see it every single day, and it is my favorite thing to look at. So,
Cause I know we talked a while before about like even though you guys deal with a lot of things from men, you guys do deal with a lot of things from women as well. And
yeah,
especially like
it's
when it
true.
that dark side of pretty privilege, right? But it's good to have as you can have that person, that woman that's in your corner as well. Like when I
Yeah,
see you guys work as a team, I'm like, man, that is what it's about. That is what I love to see. And so, like,
yeah,
you're going to be that person. I'm pretty sure you're inspiring people every day on Meal Talk. People look at you and you handle it so well. It, man, I get certain comments and I'm like, this messes up my day. But it's like
yeah,
you take it all in stride. I'm like, people say the worst stuff to you.
yeah.
I saw a video of you on Facebook the other day, and I screenshot it and I tried to send it to you, but I forgot you can't send videos through
Sure. Well, I'll give you my phone
DM.
number and you can send it to me there.
I got you, I got you. I'll let you know what it was. And I'm like, man, she is just all over the place. But I'm like, man, if she can just, you got the reach, you got the influence. I just hate that so much of who you are is attached to the thing when people are hating on you. Oh, she
Yeah.
didn't get this, she didn't deserve that. But it's like, man, if y'all listen to her every day, you would, this woman knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. So people ask me that. They're like, how do you deal with all that stuff? So I have really great mentors. I have great colleagues that are either deployed or they're still in the military. Like, because you come up with such a select few that stay with you the whole time.
Yeah.
And they get so mad. They'll text me and they're like, how do you do that? And like I'm like, because I know it's not true.
Mm.
But
Oh
that's the
yeah.
thing. I'm not insecure about my leadership skills.
Mm.
I deeply to my core know that the things they say about me are not true
Mm.
because I know what I did to get here. I know what I had to work through to get here. I know all the hoops that I had to jump through. I know like all the glass ceilings I had to break. I know all of the confrontation and the screaming matches and the yelling and all the
Mm.
things that I had to do to get here. So when people are like, "You don't deserve it," I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
just
sounds
talking.
great.
People
Everyone's
on the
entitled to an
internet.
opinion.
Yeah.
Well, and people say like all the time, like in my comment section, they'll be like, like all those old veterans will come out or whatever, and like they're really great for content. But they'll say like, whatever, I'd love to talk to one of her soldiers, but you'll never see any of my soldiers in my comments ever
Mm.
because I tell them not to, right?
Yeah.
like don't worry about it, and like it does upset them, right? It
Yeah.
upsets my soldiers, it upsets my leaders, it upsets people who know me on a personal level. To your point, right? But I am so rooted in who I am as a person that nothing they can say to me is like really gonna mess with me. Now, are there days that I'm like maybe myself internally probably not in the best mood? I shouldn't be on social media then. So I actually
Yeah.
don't have my notifications on. So if I'm in one of those days, I don't actually go to social media because it's
Mm.
like those are the days that I probably can't read that stuff because I get annoyed, right?
Oh,
So
that's very dope. I'm man, like I can't thank you enough for taking this time. And I do honestly want to have so many more conversations with you because
Yeah, I'm here
every
for it.
note that I had, we did not hit. We just had a
Oh
great
no,
conversation.
dang it.
Yeah. But that's me though. That's me though. That's on me.
I
So
can talk all day though. That's the problem with
yeah.
me.
And that just open it up for more opportunity to have conversation with you. And I'm putting it on the
Yeah,
spot now. If Camo Talk becomes everything that I know it will, I do want to extend you some type of job, some type of something. I do need
yeah,
Katie
I'm here for
Williams
it.
in the
Let's do it.
Camo Talk umbrella because I know you will give the business, the brand, everything that it needs. And I'm just
Yeah.
so grateful that we cross paths.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm here for you. I think that you're doing great. So definitely, I don't stop. Don't stop because
Thank you.
you're speaking to a group that needs to hear you too. So
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm gonna close this out, but I want to give you the floor to say whatever you want to say. Just spill your heart, say I love your husband and all that type of stuff. The floor is
I
yours.
Oh, I do love my husband. He's so great. He's my second husband. I'm his first wife and his only wife because like, I told him I said I'd rather be a widow than a divorcee again. So
Yeah, it's a
told him to
forever thing. Clink, clink, clink.
make his choice. Like like you can be with me forever or be my first murder victim. It's up to
Yeah.
you. Um so
The
but no,
ultimate
like he's
ultimatum.
yeah, like as you can see, like he sends me flowers all the time. My husband is currently deployed. He came home. I had a C-section with my son and he came home and literally like that man waited on me hand and foot. So like I'm gonna give a huge shout out to my husband. His name's Chief
Mm,
Powell. He's amazing and just I don't know, the best partner I could have gotten. But
mm,
if I'm gonna give a piece of advice to soldiers, I would just say like, man, you got to stay in those regulations and you got to just push through. And everybody's gonna tell you no, and that's I would say 98% of the time the wrong answer.
mm.
So
That's great. I thank you for that. That is information that I'm gonna take myself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And until we meet again, you take it
thank
easy.
you. See you later.
All right.
Bye.